America's job market just took a devastating punch. In the last 6 months alone, thousands of workers have been laid off by corporate giants once considered untouchable. From Silicon Valley to Wall Street, companies worth trillions of dollars are slashing payrolls to survive. Amazon, Google, Disney, Tesla, all cutting deep while executives collect multi-million-dollar bonuses. Families are losing homes, savings are vanishing, and small towns built around these corporations are collapsing. This isn't a recession warning. It's already here. Behind every pink slip lies a story of a nation on edge, as America's biggest employers quietly bleed the economy dry. Number 10. Amazon. When the world's largest online retailer starts letting go of its own people, it's not just a corporate decision, it's a national alarm bell. Amazon, the $1.6 trillion giant that once symbolized unstoppable growth, has now slashed 14,000 employees across multiple divisions. From warehouses in Ohio to cloud servers in Virginia, the cuts are sweeping, cold, and brutal. These aren't minimum wage packers. Many are engineers, logistics analysts, and managers who once built the machine that fueled America's pandemic economy. The layoffs strike at AWS, Amazon Web Services, once a profit engine bringing in $90 billion annually, now struggling as businesses reduce spending on cloud services. Meanwhile, e-commerce revenue has stagnated, with year-over-year growth barely reaching 3%, compared to the explosive 37% boom of 2020. Amazon's warehouses tell the real story: half-empty shelves, silent conveyor belts, and workers who used to move millions of packages a day now holding pink slips instead of scanners. The company's labor force once peaked at 1.5 million, making it the second largest employer in the US, right behind Walmart. But automation, overexpansion, and collapsing consumer demand have turned that power into a burden. In financial reports, Amazon blames efficiency realignment. But economists see something deeper: the collapse of the consumption model. When everyday Americans can't afford groceries, streaming, or gadgets, even the world's biggest retailer bleeds. Consumer spending has dropped 4.6% in real terms since mid-2024, and inflation has eaten away every discount Amazon once bragged about. Inside the company, the tone has turned somber. Employees speak of morale hitting record lows, leadership avoiding questions, and internal memos calling this a necessary storm. In Seattle, cafes near Amazon's headquarters have seen customer traffic fall by 30%, a small but visible consequence of a corporate quake. Amazon was built on speed, scale, and convenience, but now it's being crushed by those very strengths. The empire that promised 2-day delivery couldn't deliver 2 days' notice to thousands of loyal workers. And when a trillion-dollar titan starts cutting its own core, it's no longer about efficiency, it's about survival. Number 9. Google, Alphabet. When Google starts laying off thousands, it's not just a company cutting costs. It's the brain of Silicon Valley trimming its own neurons. Alphabet, worth over $1.8 trillion, has laid off more than 12,000 employees, including AI researchers, product designers, and even long-term veterans who once shaped the future of search. Inside Mountain View, silence has replaced the hum of innovation. Entire divisions in YouTube, Google Cloud, and Pixel hardware were told to pack up. Engineers who helped develop AI algorithms now powering billions of devices were dismissed through short emails. In the name of efficiency, Google's own innovation pipeline is being dismantled piece by piece. The layoffs reveal a deeper problem. Digital ad revenue has collapsed. In 2024, ad income fell by nearly 8%, wiping out $12 billion in projected profit. Companies are cutting marketing budgets, YouTube views are down, and competition from TikTok, Meta, and AI-driven search startups is eating into Google's dominance. Cloud computing was supposed to be Google's savior, but even that division missed its growth target by $2.4 billion last quarter. Meanwhile, Google's payroll ballooned to over 190,000 employees during the pandemic, and now it's unraveling under its own weight. But what makes it even more heartbreaking is how cold it all feels. Workers logged in one morning to find their accounts disabled, decades of service erased with a line, your role has been impacted. The company that built the future of connection now feels disconnected from its own people. For the US economy, Google's layoffs aren't isolated. Each cut represents lost income, vanished startup spending, and crumbling confidence in the tech sector that once symbolized American innovation. Billions in local tax revenue from Silicon Valley are evaporating. When the smartest company in the world starts cutting its thinkers, it's no longer about productivity, it's about panic. And for many Americans, the message is chilling. If Google is scared, who isn't? Number 8. Boeing. For over a century, Boeing stood as the pride of American engineering, a name synonymous with safety, strength, and success. But in 2025, that legend is falling apart. The aerospace giant has announced layoffs affecting 12,000 workers, roughly 10% of its global workforce. The reason? A catastrophic mix of production delays, safety scandals, and staggering debt. After a series of aircraft malfunctions and lawsuits costing more than $4.3 billion, Boeing is grounded by its own failures. Plants in Washington and South Carolina, once buzzing with assembly lines, now stand eerily quiet. The company's total debt exceeds $52 billion, and interest payments alone are draining over $600 million every quarter. Airline demand is slowing, parts suppliers are shutting down, and global orders are being canceled. Boeing's stock has lost over 40% of its value in just 2 years, erasing nearly $70 billion in shareholder wealth. But the deeper tragedy is the human one. Thousands of skilled engineers and technicians, many with decades of experience, have been shown the door. Families in Everett and Renton, Washington, towns built around Boeing's factories, are now facing unemployment lines for the first time in generations. Local housing markets are falling, small businesses near the plants are closing, and communities once powered by aviation are now struggling to stay afloat. Internally, the mood is one of disbelief. Former employees describe being betrayed by a company that once promised lifetime careers. Analysts warn that this isn't just Boeing's problem. It's a threat to America's manufacturing base. The ripple effect could cost another 30,000 indirect jobs across suppliers and logistics. Boeing's collapse isn't just about defective planes. It's about corporate decay, the pursuit of profit over quality, shortcuts over safety, and management bonuses over workers' futures. For an industry that once lifted America to the skies, Boeing's fall feels like gravity reclaiming what arrogance let go. Number 7. Disney. Once upon a time, Disney wasn't just a company. It was America's escape from reality. But in 2025, even magic has an expiration date. Facing a perfect storm of streaming losses, park declines, and crushing debt, Disney has laid off 7,000 employees across its empire. At first, executives called it strategic restructuring. But the numbers tell a darker story. Disney's streaming division has lost over $2.2 billion in the past year, while theme park attendance in Florida and California is down 18% year over year. Families simply can't afford $180 tickets, $10 churros, and $400 hotel rooms anymore. Meanwhile, the corporate side is burning cash. Debt stands at $45 billion, content budgets are being slashed, and beloved projects have been canceled overnight. Entire animation teams, the same artists who brought life to Pixar classics and Marvel blockbusters, are being replaced by cheaper contractors or AI tools. In Florida, the economic pain goes far beyond Mickey Mouse. Tourism revenue is collapsing. Small vendors around Disney World have seen sales plunge by 35%, and thousands of seasonal workers are stranded without contracts. For many, this isn't just the loss of a job. It's the end of a dream built on decades of loyalty. The mood among Disney staff is heartbreak mixed with disbelief. "We gave our lives to make people smile," one former Imagineer said, "and they replaced us with algorithms." Inside Burbank, tension is rising as executives argue over whether to prioritize profit or creativity. For the American economy, Disney's downfall is symbolic. When even joy becomes unaffordable, the illusion of prosperity cracks. Families cutting vacations, canceling subscriptions, skipping theme parks, all signs of a middle class quietly collapsing. Disney was supposed to represent hope, happiness, and escape. But today, it mirrors the same struggle millions of Americans face: rising costs, shrinking paychecks, and fading dreams. The Magic Kingdom didn't lose its magic by accident. It was sold, downsized, and automated away. Number 6. Tesla. For years, Tesla was the crown jewel of American innovation, a company that promised to reinvent transportation and free the world from oil. But in 2025, the electric dream is flickering. Tesla has announced 14,000 job cuts, roughly 10% of its workforce, and the shockwaves are shaking both Wall Street and Main Street. Production plants in Texas, Nevada, and California are scaling back as global EV demand slows dramatically. Battery material costs have surged 25%, while Chinese competitors like BYD are undercutting Tesla's prices by thousands of dollars per unit. The company's once legendary delivery growth, 50% year-over-year in 2021, has collapsed to barely 5% in 2025. Behind the numbers, the layoffs tell a story of overexpansion and overconfidence. Tesla invested billions in new gigafactories, expecting endless demand. But high interest rates have crushed car financing. The average monthly payment for a Tesla Model Y has climbed above $900, pricing out middle-class buyers. At the same time, Tesla's stock has lost over 30% of its value this year, wiping nearly $250 billion from its market cap. Elon Musk blames global headwinds, but insiders whisper about deeper issues: falling quality control, delayed Cybertruck orders, and mounting safety recalls that already cost the company $1.3 billion in 2024 alone. Inside the plants, the mood is grim. Workers once proud of building the future now fear the future itself. Entire departments have been merged or erased overnight. Engineers who helped design Tesla's self-driving systems are suddenly jobless, told that AI will handle it. For the broader U.S. economy, Tesla's cuts are devastating. Suppliers in Michigan, logistics contractors in Nevada, and solar panel teams in Texas all depend on Tesla's ecosystem. The ripple effect could eliminate another 20,000 indirect jobs across America. Tesla was once a symbol of progress. Today, it's a mirror of decline. The electric car revolution didn't fail because of technology. It's failing because Americans can no longer afford the future they were promised. Number 5. Meta. In Silicon Valley, they called it the year of efficiency. But for tens of thousands of Meta employees, it was the year of heartbreak. In a sweeping move, Mark Zuckerberg's company cut 20,000 jobs, dismantling teams across Facebook, Instagram, and Reality Labs. Meta's market value, once above $1 trillion, has fallen by nearly 40% since its peak. The reason? A disastrous gamble on the metaverse, a virtual world that burned $13 billion in losses last year alone. What was meant to be the next internet became one of the most expensive failures in tech history. Inside Meta's headquarters, entire hallways now stand empty. Cafes once buzzing with engineers and designers are silent. Employees describe a ghost campus, where survivors avoid eye contact, fearing they'll be next. Those laid off received automated messages ending years of service in a single line. Your role has been eliminated. Meta's advertising revenue, the lifeblood of its empire, has dropped by nearly $10 billion as small businesses slash marketing budgets and Gen Z abandons Facebook altogether. Even Instagram is bleeding engagement to TikTok, while Threads, the supposed Twitter killer, lost 80% of its daily users within months. Meanwhile, Reality Labs, the metaverse division, continues to drain over $2.8 billion per quarter. Investors are furious, employees are disillusioned, and Zuckerberg insists the company is refocusing. But that refocus came at the cost of thousands of livelihoods. The psychological damage runs deep. Many former Meta workers were on six-figure salaries, with families, mortgages, and student debt. Now they're part of an unemployment wave that's hitting tech harder than at any time since 2008. The layoffs don't just reflect Meta's fall, they symbolize the end of an era. The social media bubble that connected billions is bursting under its own digital weight. And the company that once promised to bring people together is now tearing itself apart. Number 4. Warner Brothers. Discovery. In the golden age of streaming, Hollywood promised infinite entertainment. But behind the red carpets and premieres lies a brutal reality, one of mass layoffs, debt, and despair. Warner Brothers Discovery, the media titan behind HBO, CNN, and DC Studios, has cut over 5,000 employees since its merger, and the pain isn't stopping. The company is drowning in $48 billion of debt. Every quarter, interest payments of nearly $700 million are devouring profits. In 2024 alone, Warner Brothers Discovery wrote off more than $2.5 billion in canceled films, shelved projects, and budget cuts. Streaming was supposed to be salvation. Instead, Mac subscriptions are stagnating, ad revenues have fallen 12%, and content budgets are collapsing. Dozens of series were abruptly pulled from HBO Max to avoid paying royalties, a move that enraged creators and devastated fans. But the deepest cuts are human. Longtime editors, producers, and on-set crews, the people who built American entertainment, are now jobless. Entire animation studios have been shut down, and union leaders estimate that over 15,000 supporting jobs across California and Georgia will vanish because of Warner's downsizing. Executives call it streamlining. Insiders call it survival. The company's stock has dropped over 45% in 2 years, wiping $20 billion in shareholder value. On studio lots in Burbank, sound stages once filled with laughter and light now stand dark. The layoffs stretch beyond the business. They're crushing local economies. From caterers to costume shops, thousands of small suppliers are collapsing. The glamour of Hollywood has turned into a story of debt, decline, and desperation. For millions of Americans, Warner's fall is symbolic. When even the storytellers can't afford to tell stories, you know the nation's economy is in trouble. The dream factory of America is now firing its dreamers. And the saddest part? No one's writing a happy ending for this one. Number 3. UPS. For decades, UPS was the lifeline of the American economy. The trucks, planes, and drivers that kept commerce alive. But in 2025, even this delivery powerhouse is delivering bad news. The company has announced 12,000 job cuts after a massive collapse in e-commerce demand. At its peak during the pandemic, UPS moved nearly 25 million packages a day. Today, that number has dropped below 18 million, a loss of over 7 million shipments daily, equivalent to billions of dollars evaporating from the logistics chain. Revenue for the last quarter plunged by 9.4%, while net profits fell from $2.8 billion to just $1.5 billion. Warehouses in Atlanta, Chicago, and Louisville are scaling down operations. Entire sorting lines sit idle. The company blames market normalization, but insiders say it's far worse. Consumers have stopped buying. Inflation has eaten disposable income. Small online sellers are vanishing, and corporate contracts are shrinking. These layoffs hit more than drivers. Administrative teams, warehouse managers, and mechanics, the people who kept America's brown trucks running, are now jobless. In towns like Roswell, Georgia, local businesses are collapsing because the UPS workforce once fueled their entire community. Analysts warn that UPS's downfall exposes a dangerous truth. The American consumer economy is running out of fuel. When shipping slows, it's not logistics that's broken, it's spending. Even Wall Street is losing confidence. UPS stock has fallen 28% this year, and the company has lost over $40 billion in market value. Competitors like FedEx are slashing too, signaling a nationwide slowdown. UPS once symbolized reliability. What can Brown do for you? Now, it's the question haunting millions of workers wondering what they'll do next. The engine that once connected America is sputtering, and this time, the road ahead looks empty. Number 2. Intel. Intel built the digital age. Its microchips powered every laptop, data center, and cloud server that defined modern America. But in 2025, the chip giant is crumbling under pressure. Facing collapsing demand and brutal global competition, Intel has confirmed 15,000 layoffs, the largest in its history. After losing 30% of its PC market share to AMD and Apple, Intel's revenues plunged from $63 billion to $44 billion in just 2 years. Its once dominant factories from Arizona to Oregon are running at half capacity. The company spent over $20 billion building new plants, betting on a semiconductor boom. Instead, consumer electronics demand crashed, and AI-focused competitors like NVIDIA overtook Intel's relevance. The result? Overproduction, overspending, and overwhelming debt. Executives insist the layoffs are part of restructuring, but behind the corporate language is panic. Thousands of engineers, some who've spent decades designing America's tech backbone, are out of work. Entire research teams on next-generation chips have been dismantled. The ripple effects are devastating. Semiconductor suppliers, local contractors, and logistics firms in the Pacific Northwest report project cancellations and unpaid invoices. Analysts warn that up to 25,000 additional indirect jobs could vanish across the tech corridor. Meanwhile, Intel's stock has fallen 35%, wiping out $70 billion in market capitalization. The U.S. government's much-touted $39 billion CHIPS Act subsidies couldn't arrive fast enough to stop the bleeding. The tragedy is symbolic. The company that once gave the world speed and power now can't keep up with it. In Silicon Valley, they call it the fall of the old guard. But for the American economy, it's more than that. It's the collapse of a foundation that once made the U.S. a technological superpower. Intel's layoffs aren't just corporate, they're national. They mark the moment when the future America built on silicon started to crack. Number 1. Walmart. When Walmart starts cutting jobs, America should listen, because this isn't just another company. It's the country's largest private employer with more than 1.6 million U.S. workers. And now, it's quietly eliminating 25,000 positions, automating warehouses, and closing underperforming stores across the nation. For decades, Walmart symbolized affordability. But the math no longer works. Inflation has eroded customer spending power, and even Walmart's everyday low prices can't compete with empty wallets. Real retail sales have fallen 4.6% since 2024, and household credit card debt just passed $1.3 trillion, the highest in U.S. history. Automation is replacing people at lightning speed. New AI-driven fulfillment centers are saving $2 billion annually, but at the cost of thousands of livelihoods. Cashiers, stockers, and warehouse staff, many earning just above minimum wage, are being told machines can do it faster. Walmart blames efficiency upgrades, but the truth runs deeper. The company's inventory costs have risen 12%, while profit margins are at a decade-low 2.8%. With food inflation up 18% in 3 years, even loyal shoppers are cutting back. In many rural towns where Walmart is the last major store, layoffs mean local economies collapse entirely. From Texas to Ohio, shuttered supercenters now stand as monuments to economic decay. Small towns once reliant on Walmart's payroll are facing mass unemployment. Local diners and gas stations near those stores are reporting sales down 40%. The emotional toll is haunting. Workers who spent decades with the company, some earning under $40,000 a year, are being replaced by self-checkouts and robots that don't need healthcare or breaks. For economists, Walmart's layoffs are the final signal that America's strong job market was a mirage. When the biggest retailer in the nation starts shrinking, it means the consumer economy, the beating heart of the U.S., is flatlining. Walmart once promised savings and stability, but in 2025, it's delivering something else entirely. A brutal reminder that when the giants stumble, every American feels the tremor.